Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Greetings. AliShanMao here. Welcome to the live stream on learning to fly RC helicopters. Obviously, in this live stream, I'm going to share a lot of information regarding how was my learning experience and how did I learn to fly RC helicopters. So first, let's check everything is working properly. Number one, sound check. Let me know in the chat if you are hearing the sound very well and there are no issues, and then I will start doing my stuff. Of course, I will continue. So we will start. Let me just quickly get my file that I put it somewhere here for my live show. Obviously, I made a list here. Hold on. Just give me a moment. I'm just gonna get that file here so that I know what we have to talk about today in this video. So yes, we're gonna start with what this video is about, of course, and that is how did I learn to fly RC helicopters. Wa alaikum assalam. Okay, so greetings R1250 GSA Rider, greeting JViana drones, and you have a lot of helicopters. I can see a T-Rex. You have all Align. Align used to be a very good company. It still is actually, but I don't know why they are not putting out too many helicopters. Now let's talk about my helicopter learning flight experience. I mean, learning to fly RC helicopters. I remember my first helicopter was a 450 size helicopter. I didn't find beginner's one. I did find some beginner one that didn't fly very well, and that time technology wasn't very good. My very first helicopter that was really nice was an Arttech Falcon 450, I believe. And I remember that I used to actually, fly that helicopter. Just let me just choose one helicopter here just to show you what I used to do. And it was like, as you can see, I was barely flying that, like trying to control, and then I will abruptly land, fly again, abruptly land, stuff like that. And to be honest, I did that for over a month, and I was losing my heart that why I cannot learn to fly RC helicopters, why I'm not progressing. My progress was very slow. E-Flight Blade 400 was an excellent helicopter as well, I can tell you that. So well, I kept on trying, and hardly I was able to move to forward flight. That is, I could fly some circles, but whenever the helicopter came nose in, I always lost control. Then something happens, and my friends saw in 1 week time I was flying my helicopter inverted. I was doing rolls and flips and figure eight and controlling the helicopter inverted, and they were really surprised what happened and how did I make such immediate quick progress. Well, this was all because I started using the flight simulator, the one that you are watching right here in the background, the flight simulator. Okay, so what flight simulator does is gives you daily practice, like you can daily practice on flight simulator for 2 hours, 3 hours. Number two, when you crash, you don't have to repair anything, you don't have to spend any money, you don't have to spend any time repairing things. You can keep crashing, keep learning from your mistakes, and keep practicing. So that is what happened, and that was the flight simulator that time, I believe Real Flight G5. I started with that, and step by step, now I'm on Real Flight G7.5. I know there's Real Flight 9 out there as well. Hello, Hackrowell. Good morning, man. So there's a version 9 out, but I'm still with a G7.5, and what I do is I use it with my Futaba radio control. If you can see it clearly, I would like to make this screen slightly bigger so you can actually see how I use it. So this is my Futaba radio control, and there is a connector on the back of the radio control, and this is going all the way to a dongle like this. A dongle, if my camera can focus, probably. Come on, camera, can you? Is this an autofocus camera? I'm not sure. But anyway, this dongle says it can handle GTR, XTR, Real Flight, Aerofly, and Phoenix. Now there are many flight simulators out there, but I can tell you, when it comes to the flight simulator, what you need to look at, number one, is how good are the physics. I have seen many flight simulators where the physics is really not good. Let me give you one example. I hope you can see it. Give me a moment. So I'm just gonna go and pick up one helicopter right here, which, to be honest, does not have a very good physics right here. So let me just fly it. I hope you can see it. Hold on. Now this is T-Rex Dominator, and Real Flight really does a very nice physics on it, but look at that. I mean, in real life, this helicopter is, and look, it doesn't even break. In real life, it's not really gonna behave this way, trust me. So the physics is very, very important, and why I love Real Flight G7.5 or Real Flight Flight Simulator, that their physics is absolutely very, very close to real life. As I've shown you recently, the Goose Sky S2 Legend and M2 Evo helicopters, they actually behave very close to what I practice on the Real Flight G7, very, very close to the real life physics. But again, there is something that I need to show you right here. So let me go back to the Real Flight and change it to Align T-Rex 500, okay? And then when you come to the menu, there's this physics, okay? And you need to keep it on realistic. Here's something that says realistic, and if you want to give yourself challenge, you can make the speed to 120%. Otherwise, just start with 100%, okay? I lost it right there. Come on, 100.1, really? 100, okay, let's just keep it on 100%. And difficulty on realistic, okay? Remember, don't do beginner, intermediate, keep it on realistic, and you will have a very, very realistic feel on the RC helicopters. Now, that is number one. Number two, on the Real Flight Simulator, what you need to do is choose the models that give you most realistic real-life helicopter feel, and not all helicopter models will give you that feel. Let me show you some of the two of the models that I always use to practice. Actually, there are three, and they are very, very close to real-life models, okay? So we're talking about something, a kind of setup that will give you that feel on your radio, and then when you take this radio out and you bind it to your real helicopter, you will have that feel, so you will be confident to practice. So going back to this first helicopter, which is very, very close to real life, is this T-Rex 500. This is T-Rex 500. Yes, T-Rex 500. It says Align T-Rex 500. It is very, very close to real life feel when you are flying it in the flight simulator. I can tell you that I often use this helicopter to practice my 3D moves, to practice my routines. It is very close, but it's, as you can see, it's pretty docile, very docile. And to my understanding, a beginner of course need a docile helicopter to practice, but to my skill levels, I need something that gives me, more challenge. So let's put it down right here. Oh, look, this is what I'm talking about. When you crash something in real flight, all you need to do is press the space bar and you're back to the practice. You don't have to repair anything. Okay, now we're talking about something that gives you more challenge. So the second model that I use to practice is a Furion 450. It's also flybarred helicopter and also very close to real life model and pretty agile. You can see that this is agile to the level which I want. Okay, well, you can always, as I mentioned, you can always increase the speed of your physics and make it more agile for your practice. Okay, so crash it? No, okay, didn't crash it. All right, so there was a second model. I believe there is a third model right here somewhere that I practice with. And just give me a moment. I'm trying to prove a point. At that point, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna talk about it very, very soon. There is one more model. I believe I did not install it this time because I didn't install, it comes with the extension packs of a real flight simulator. Let me also see, hold on. Okay, so the stream is still very, very good, I believe, alhamdulillah. So yes, now the point is, don't choose a helicopter model in your flight simulator which is really stable. It's not going to give you much improvement on that. You need to choose something which is difficult to fly, not very stable. And of course, you need to add some challenge to your flying. And for that, what you can do is add winds to your flight simulator. So what you can do is press page up, and let's say I'll add 10 miles per hour. 10 miles per hour. Okay, let's see if we have a windsock somewhere here. I remember, yep, there is a windsock. Okay, now look at it. You can not only add wind, but you can also add wind gusts. So at the moment, you can see as I leave, the helicopter starts drifting, and leave the sticks, helicopter will drift because now there are winds. Okay, so you can basically give yourself a big challenge. Like, for example, you can add more winds. And I once remember I wanted to give myself a challenge and see if you can fly in 40 miles per hour winds. Okay, and turbulence to 15%. Let's take off and see how it goes. Look at that. Oh, that's a storm. No way you can control that. I will give myself a challenge in this video and see how much wind we can fly. So give yourself some challenge to, let's say, 5 miles per hour, wind turbulence, increase, decrease, okay? And you can change the wind directions. At the moment, we'll keep the wind directions here. And now that you have a wind directions, okay, now you can, we have some wind, we have wind direction and wind turbulence. Now we can practice. So it actually feels pretty much very, very realistic for you to practice flying your helicopters. We're not talking about beginners. We're talking about how I am practiced at the moment. We'll come to the beginners, of course, very, very soon. Oh, that was a sweet landing. That was a sweet landing. Okay, so let's get back to good morning, Mr. Dwight Bailey. How are you? So the thing is that give yourself challenge, give yourself a model that is very, very close to the real life, and add more realistic physics. Add some more physics speed, give yourself some challenge, and then you practice flying over there. So once I moved to practicing on Real Flight G7 Real Flight Simulator, it made a huge improvement. And as I said, I said in 1 week I was able to fly inverted, and I was doing, much fast improvement on my RC helicopter flying. Happy Thursday. Oh, well, it's Thursday here as well. I believe, yes, it is. I've kind of lost the time frame. I lost track of my time. Okay, so now let me just give you a little bit of demo of how I practice. Phoenix RC is good, but I tried that as well, Phoenix RC, Mr. J. Vienna Drones, and I was quite not very, satisfied with the physics. The physics that really impresses me is right here on real flight. No matter G5, G6, G7, it actually really very nice. So let's do some practice right here. As you can see, the radio is right here on top, okay? And let me see if I can make the radio slightly more big so you can see the stick movements. I believe, let me just check how it looks like on the live feed. Give me a moment. Yes, okay, so you can see the radio control as well. Let me just fly the helicopter a little bit so that you see how I practice mostly with real flight G7.5 right here. I'm gonna add winds to 10 miles per hour, and here we go. So my recent practice sessions are going towards not just TikToks, but I am kind of fascinated with how to use more rudder to my aerobatics, and give myself some new routines. And the thing that really takes a lot of time for me to practice is how to make my pyro flips better. So crash again, no problem. That's the beauty and charm of the real flight and flight simulator. So I am spending some time on real flight these days. Not almost every day. I'm kind of lazy. I actually don't get very regular. I'm spending time to practice pyro flips. So as you can see, I practice them at higher speeds with this helicopter, which is more agile, and then in real life I am practicing them on my KDS Innova 550. And what it gives me is that when I go out and practice it on my KDS 550, it is because the 550 is pretty docile. So in real life, outside, practicing pyro flips on a docile helicopter gives me more control, more time to think, and I can do the pyro flips on my helicopter, real helicopter, outside. So the pyro flips have to be done that your rudder is constantly moving, and then your ride sticks have to go in circles according to the rudder movement. And you have to master the pitch control in between. So once you master that, you can basically keep on repeating this thing, and you will get to that level where you can actually do the pyro flips nice and get it to a good control. All right, so that is what I'm practicing, and this is how I practice my helicopter flying and my helicopter routines on the flight simulator on my computer. And once I'm done with it, I go out and I have fun with my helicopters. Now, there have been more questions, of course, which I'm gonna address. Let me see. There was one very important question right here regarding, hold on, we'll talk about what beginners need to do. In real life, yes, when you crash and you repair your helicopter and you find the helicopter is drifting to left, right, forward, backward, and it's actually not behaving the way it used to behave. Normally what happens is that when you set up the helicopter and you want your helicopter to be perfectly trimmed out, let me just pick one helicopter, it's right here, hold on. So if you want your helicopter to be perfectly trimmed out, What you need to do is, let me just hold on. Oh, sorry, not this screen. Give me a moment. It's this one. So I'm just gonna make it slightly bigger so you can see it a little bit more properly. So when you're setting up a helicopter, this is Goose Guy S2 Legend, and when you are talking about the helicopter setup, you must make sure that your swash plate is perfectly leveled. Before flying a brand new helicopter, of course, they come properly set up from the factory, but after the crash, once you have repaired it, you need to make sure your swash plate is perfectly level. And normally what we do is we center the servos, you know, the 3 servos. And hold on, let me just pick up another one so I can show you the servos as well. Let's do it on M2 Evo, okay? So the thing is, someone asked this question and says that we should mention this thing. So what you do is you center the servos, okay? And the arm should be, you know, perfectly perpendicular, 90 degree to the servo on all 3 servos. There are 3 servos in there. And you need to make sure that the swash plate is level. And you do it by moving the servos up and down, or first off, you have to make sure these connecting rods, like right here, 1, 2, and 3, they're exactly a millimeter precision counts right here. They're exactly on the same length. You have to make sure they're exactly on the same length. And the second thing, make sure that the servo connecting rods, these arms are perfectly 90 degree perpendicular. After centering the servos, move them up and down. And then comes the swash plate leveling. So you may find something useful like this. This is a swash plate leveler. You can also 3D print this, download. I believe there are free things available, free designs. So you put it down here on your swash plate, and then you level it out using either the flight controller setup, moving the servos up and down, or manually if you don't have it in flight control. Once you do, you will make sure that at mid throttle, your blade pitches are on 0. Okay, and if you can achieve that, well, you don't have to be perfect, but if you can achieve that, you have really trimmed out your helicopter. Make sure your radio have 0 trims. All the trims are mid when you do this setup. So once you have achieved that sweet spot, go out and fly, and you will see your helicopter will be very stable. And then you can trim it out if it is a manual control, or you know, you can just let the flight controller do the job. So I'm just gonna put my icon right here to a smaller level so we can go back to more practice right here. Okay, so that was one thing. Now we're gonna talk about, let me see, there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is for beginners. Yes, so for beginners, if you want to start with the helicopters, you need to decide, what did I do? You need to decide that, number one, what kind of flying you want to do. I know there are people who love, you know, 3D like I do, you know, making your helicopter go crazy and doing all kind of, you know, aerobatics, crazy thing, defying gravity. Some people don't like that. Some people like nice and calm flight. We call that scale flying, you know, like a scale helicopter flying like a, you know, real helicopter. And then there's another one, and it's called sports flying, where you fly your helicopter nice and fast in a sports manner. And you can probably, yeah, there's Dwight Bailey. He says scale all the way, baby. Scale flying is something where you have the least crashes, and you can learn to do it pretty quick, because all you need to do is practice orientations only for, you know, one normal gesture of helicopter, normal flight of helicopter, where the blades are actually up, you know, towards the sky. So scale flying is easy to learn because, let me just put it this, all you need to do is you have your helicopter. Okay, let me just make this bigger a little bit one more time. So you have your helicopter and you just need to fly it slow and nice like a real helicopter. And all you need to do is practice hovering, tail in, nose in, side in, these kind of orientations. And you also need to practice flying your helicopter figure eight or circles. Maybe sometimes you might want to do a loop, okay, or maybe roll. But when you do that, you enter the second phase, which is sports flying. That's where you make your helicopter go faster, fly faster, circles, figure eights, and other patterns, and you do roll or, you know, loops. And then finally, the third one, as I mentioned, which is my favorite, of course, is to do all these strange, crazy, you know, flight patterns. And that's where you have your normal orientation, your inverted orientation, your tail down orientation, your nose down orientation, your side down. I mean, there are all kind of orientations that you need to practice, and that is why it becomes very difficult to learn to fly these helicopters, and that is why you actually crash a lot. Be ready for that, because you will crash a lot. So you need to choose what you want to fly. Scale, very, very easy. If you're a beginner, I would suggest learn to fly scale, because not only it's beautiful, but also it saves you from learning all the high, you know, those very, very complicated orientations, and also reduces the chances of crashes. If you are up for adventure, you can take up the next sports flying, where you go faster. Try it in, you know, where the blade change pitches. We call it collective pitch mode. And, you know, if you still feel you want to go further, you can move on to 3D. But I will suggest, if you want to start 3D and you really want to save money, get this. The XK-K11OS, baby. This tiny helicopter can do basic 3D rolls, flips, loops, tick-tocks, side tick-tocks, forward, backward tick-tocks, and even pyro flips, man. I can tell you this helicopter can do a lot. And the good thing about this helicopter is if you crash it, especially if you're flying over grass areas, if you crash it, you do not cry, because this helicopter does not break. And even break, the parts are easier to replace, cheaper, and the repairs are pretty easy. Normally, on most of the occasion, it won't break. I have crashed this helicopter. I have abused this helicopter on concrete, and it actually does not break. Trust me on this. And it's really, really good to transition from sports to 3D. And once you are really, really confident, you can move forward more. However, if you really want to learn 3D flying, I would say once again, you know, get a flight simulator and learn on flight simulator. Now, Izoku, hey, how are you, buddy? Is asking, how about nitro heli? Yes, nitro helis, man, they are old school. Used to be really fun, but what I don't like about nitro, I used to have nitro airplanes and nitro helis and nitro RC cars. But what I really don't like about nitro is that it's messy, man. It's messy. Tuning the engine is a headache. You must make sure you have to tune the engine. You have to make sure you have enough glow plugs, nice glow plugs, and they're in good condition. You have to clean your helicopter a lot. You have to make sure you don't inhale those toxic, they are, trust me, poisonous fumes from the nitro helicopter exhaust after burning the nitro. And when you crash, man, that's just a lot of mess. Since I switched to electric helicopters, I am stuck to electric helicopters, because especially now the direct drive one, they're super clean, super easy to maintain, tons of power, and you can have a lot of batteries and fly almost all day long by charging the batteries on the field easily and keep on flying. So nitro helis are old, they're noisy, messy, dirty, smoky. There's a lot. I would suggest stay with electric helicopters, man. They are lots of fun and very, very clean. All right. Thank you very much, Mark Koskil. Thank you very much for coming here and watching. What simulator model will be best match my flying? Okay, yes, I was about to come to this, that people who cannot, let's say, if you don't want to get real flight simulator, okay, if you don't want to get simulator and you say, come on, man, I don't want to buy it, I don't have a computer, I don't want to, or if I have a computer, I just don't want to spend money on a simulator and make things complicated. Why not get a GPS helicopter, you know, FW450, FW200, and I'm waiting for FW450V3. Baby, yes, V3 is coming. I was talking to the factory and they said they're just waiting for the, you know, the foam case, and once they have a foam case, the inshallah helicopter is coming my way. I'll show you a complete detailed review of Flywing FW450V3. So if you're waiting to buy a Flywing FW450 helicopter V2 2.5, I would say wait, there's a V3 coming, wait for that. So if you don't want to get a flight simulator, I would suggest you just get a GPS helicopter and learn to fly with that, but stay with the scale and sports flying, because once it comes to the 3D flying, then things get complicated. Now the question was here, which helicopter is very close to FW200? Well, FW200 is a small size helicopter, and there's no GPS based helicopter in flight simulators unless somebody actually designs and adds a GPS helicopter. So I would say when it comes to flight simulator, you just practice with a stable helicopter. Excuse me, my nose is running again. I recently caught a cold. You just stay with you know, stable helicopter, and if you really want to learn to fly helicopters, GPS helicopters are a good thing, but after, I mean, you should use GPS mode only when you want to learn to correct your orientations and give yourself that feel that at which way I have to move sticks to control the orientation of my helicopter. And once you develop the orientation, I would highly suggest turn off the GPS and practice flying the helicopter in 3D mode or manual mode, because that's where you're gonna learn. GPS mode, you can use it as a rescue mode, because anytime you make a mistake, and one click of a switch and you will be back to stable flight. You can leave the radio and take a deep breath while your helicopter is staying there for you, and once your hands trembling has a stop, you can get back to flying. So that is a rescue mode for, I mean, GPS helicopter are good for rescue mode. And the thing is, the point is still there. You must practice in manual mode. Only then you're gonna make you know, progress. Otherwise, you're gonna not gonna make progress. You're welcome, Mr. Jire. Thank you very much for being here and watching this video. Okay. Now here Giovanna Drone says, in my opinion, the problem with nitro is that you will never be sure you're going to fly, precisely because of many adjustments that have to be made before, during, and after the flight. See, that's what I said. They are very messy. I used to have a nitro helicopter. I used to have nitro planes, but I totally gave up on them. Okay. Greg Belia says, do you need a physical controller with dongle? I find it hard with no feedback touching a screen, but it can be done. You're welcome, Greg, from Australia. You know, what's the time in Australia at the moment? Thank you very much for being here. Yes, I would say once again, with this dongle, why I love this dongle is, I mean, let me just show you one more thing is, there are flight simulators that you can, you know, practice using Radio Master TX16S, because Radio Master TX16S, when you connect it to USB directly to your computer, you can use it as a joystick. This is a good thing, but the dongle right here is not gonna connect to this one, I believe, because I haven't tried it. The thing that I love about dongle is that you use the radio that you're gonna use to fly, the same radio, to fly your real helicopter. Now my Futaba has M2 Evo, Goose Sky, M2. All my helicopter are bound to Futaba except my KDS 450. And then later I have shown you a video that I bound all my helicopter to Radiomaster TX16S. But I'm going back to Futaba because I use this radio to practice on real flight. And then the same radio, I bring it out and fly my real helicopter. So my thumbs, my fingers, my hands, my mind and coordination is already set to this radio and what I practice as my routines on real flight. And when I go out, I feel no problems at all pulling my routines, though outdoor helicopter might behave a little bit different, but hey, you are able to control them because you have built your reflexes on the same radio control that you're using on real flight simulator, and then you go out. So yes, you do need to be able to use a physical controller. I see some people use computer gaming joystick, PlayStation joysticks. Yes, it works, but when you go out, the PlayStation joystick and radio joystick, there's a difference. Using your own radio, building your reflexes when you're practicing on flight simulator, and then you go out and practice exactly the same feel, and that is the best way to do. Yes, I know there are a lot of people who don't like GPS, but some people, as I mentioned just now, who don't want flight simulator, they want directly fly helicopters outside, they can fly GPS. And as I mentioned, practice in manual mode, use the GPS only when you want a rescue. Okay, so until there are more questions, let me just give myself a little bit more challenge, and that is to fly this T-Rex 500 in heavy winds. Let's add 40 km/h wind and 40 miles per hour. How much it would be? Let me see, 40 miles per hour in kilometer per hour. That would be 64 km/h wind. Okay, all right, let's do it. 64 km/h wind. Let's see if we can fly and control a helicopter. So let me just first change to an airport where I can see, hold on, yep, here, this airport, nah, not this one. I want one airport where I can see the windsock. Okay, there's a windsock right here. Hold on, Apocalypse, come on, what kind of thing is this? Oh, sorry, my nose is running again, excuse me for that. So let's just stay with this field, shall we? Should be okay. All right, let's go here. Okay, so let me just see where the windsock at, and please don't make me laugh, because if I laugh, I kind of get, you know, asthma. Okay, one moment. Zoom out. Nah, it's still not good. I want to get a field where I can actually see windsock. I remember I had a field. Yeah, this one is really nice and very simple field. So let's just set up. Let me get ready, hold on. And put the helicopter down here. So zoom, auto zoom, manual zoom, manual zoom. So I'm just gonna zoom out. Here we go, people. Look at that windsock going up. Okay, let's just try 30 miles per hour for now, and wind gusts to 5%. Here we go. Wish me luck. Look at that. In real life, basically, you can actually do that. You can fly an RC helicopter in such winds. Just that you have to struggle with luck. Oh, I just chopped my head off, people. I never do this in real life. I just chopped my head off. I mean, in real life, I could have been in extreme danger. Okay, so that was that. Hold on, let's add more winds. 40 miles per hour. Awesome. See, a collective pitch can still handle it. Yep, I'm still doing it, people. It's still going on strong. Hold on, I need one come out. Keep grabbing the view. I lost it. But full positive. 40 miles per hour wind. My helicopter is still coming forward. Okay. 50 miles per hour. Full collective, and we are gone. We are gone. We lost our T-Rex 550. You know what's most funny is that can you challenge yourself to fly an airplane in, you know, let's say such conditions? Let me give it a try. Hold on. So I'm just gonna get myself a very simple airplane. Let's say, where is it? I had it. Hold on. Nexus Star EP. Let's just try it. Let's see this. 50 miles per hour. Here we go. Yes, I can still control it. Oops, and we are gone. We're not coming forward. There you go, you're hovering. So yes, it's possible to fly a helicopter in big winds because of their collective pitch ability. In real life, I have flown helicopters outdoors in winds up to, let's say, probably 15 to 20 miles per hour. I'm not very used to miles per hour. I'm mostly used to kilometer an hour. Okay, so I'm just going to put the wind down and come back to our practice sessions. So 5 miles per hour and 10% of the turbulence. Okay, so this was this. Now, hold on, let me see. Hello, everybody from France. I don't know how to pronounce your name, my friend, but welcome here to the show. So let's talk about what beginners should practice in the beginning. Simulator that work with Google Chromebooks and counts with a basic remote radio train. Actually speaking, when you buy Real Flight Simulator online, it will come with a Real Flight radio controller, something like a radio controller, but you won't be able to connect your Futaba or other radios. But when you buy something, these flight simulator packs from China, which are pirated versions, you get these dongles, and the good thing about dongles is you can connect your radios and practice with that. So Google Chromebook, is that a computer, my friend? Is that a laptop, or is just an like kind of pad? I don't know about that. Sorry, don't have much technology here, I believe. I mean, in my house. In China, there's a lot. Let me just Google it. Hold on. Google Chromebook. Okay, images. Okay, it is a laptop, my man, is it? Yeah, it is a laptop. Okay, so if you have a laptop, then you can easily install and run Flight Simulator and connect the radio and practice. But I'm not sure how powerful the Google Chrome is. My computer, which is running at the moment the streaming software and Real Flight G7.5 at higher graphics resolution, it's a gaming computer, and I have no issue running. I have run this Flight Simulator on laptop at high specs, not high specs, I mean high graphics settings, and no issues at all on my laptop. That is generation, I don't know which generation is it. I bought it in 2016 in Dubai, and that was Lenovo. I forgot the brand. Very good laptop and has no issues running these flight simulators at high resolution. Chromebook should be able to run that at least at lower resolution. You should be able to practice. Now, let's talk about practicing and what should you practice. So I'm just gonna get a bigger helicopter so you can see it properly. Hold on, what we have, Gavi X7, not a good Align T-Rex 500. Let's just take this. So in the beginning, I suggest the very first task for you is to be able to take off and maintain a hover. Now, if you focus on the radio controller sticks, hold on, let me just land it and make this radio slightly bigger so you can see it on the screen properly. Now let me come back to the stream and see how big is the radio. Just give me a moment. You're always welcome, buddy. You're always welcome. Hope your Google Chromebook can actually run the simulator. Okay, so now the radio is big enough. What I'm gonna do is go back here. Now focus on the stick movements, okay? If you can see it, once you take off, your task is to keep the helicopter hovering at one point. In the beginning, don't try to change the orientation. Your task is to keep the tail pointing towards you and let the helicopter kind of stop in the air as much as you can do. Now focus on the sticks. Do you see sticks moving? Yes, sticks are still moving because helicopters need constant input, people. As I have mentioned, flying or learning to fly RC helicopter is like, let me just give you this example very, very quickly once again. Learning to fly RC helicopter is like having a piece of glass and having to have a metal ball here. Now I'm trying to find out where the metal ball is, but I can get one little ball somewhere. Give me a moment. So I have these BB bullets from my old era. So learning to fly or hovering the RC helicopter is like having a plate of glass and putting a ball on it, a metal ball, and trying to keep it in the center. Now you can see I have to constantly move the phone tilted in all the directions in order to keep the ball in the center. And that is, my people, exactly flying and hovering an RC helicopter. This example proves that you need to give constant input, and only then you will be able to fly your RC helicopter properly and control it. So once again, here we go. Focus on the sticks and try to notice that I am constantly giving it an input, both on throttle, which controls the collective pitch as well, rudder, and especially the cyclic, forward, backward, left, right. You can see this one is constantly having inputs, and without that, if I don't give constant input, look at that, helicopter goes side. So people who try to, like, do this, can you see the sticks? No, please, no, you're torturing yourself, your radio and your model. Never do that. Push and hold and move constantly. See, that is like jerky movement on your model, translated right there. And this, people, it's really nice and smooth. As you can see, you can barely see the movement on the sticks, but you can see helicopter is staying almost at one point. Of course, there's wind, and that's why the forward is tilted, because I have to fight the winds. Let me just put down the winds to 0 miles per hour. And now you can see helicopter doesn't tilt forward too much, and I'm able to hold my position right there. So yes, constant input, that is your first task to, maintain a good hover, and after that comes practicing different orientations. So don't just say, oh, okay, I have mastered my tail in flying, let's go fly forward. And go forward and come back. Now, don't try to fly your helicopter right away, but give yourself more challenge, okay? Now you have practiced and mastered the tail in. What about the side in? Try to master a side in hover. Once you have mastered it, comes the difficult one and most funny one. Try to master nose in hover. Okay? So the thing is that you need to master hovering your RC helicopter in all orientations. And we are talking about scale flying here. So once you have mastered all this, don't go flying. Hey, I've mastered all my orientation. Let's fly. Whee! Look at me, I'm flying. No, don't do that. Once you have mastered this, I'll give you another challenge. Do this, because this is what I'm doing nowadays as well. Once you have mastered your tail in, side in, nose in, I want you to slowly rotate your helicopter and control it. Try to hover. See, my hover is not very good while I'm rotating. So try to hover in manual mode while your helicopter is rotating and control. Okay? So either right or left, whatever way you like to rotate, you rotate the helicopter, keep it rotating, and try to control. Now, even in simulator, never ever get the helicopter to this point where camera abruptly changes, because this means you're hitting yourself in real life. So again, maintain a good distance and an altitude if you like, but I like to keep it where I can see the road and ground. And then once again, rotate your helicopter and maintain a hover. Once you have done that, you have mastered this, now feel free to fly around. And you can fly circles. Now we are talking about scale flying, people. So you can fly circles, figure eights, forward, backward, as you like. But when it comes to flying helicopters, backward flying is equally important as forward flying. Should you want to transition to sports flying mode or 3D flying mode, you will have to learn to fly backward as well. So in the beginning, I would suggest just practice your orientations, and once you have mastered all that I have just told you, go ahead and enjoy flying scale. And the good thing about Flight Simulator is that you can even choose a scale model. So let's just choose a scale model. I saw an Airwolf here. Oh, look at that. That thing is beautiful. How do I start it? Oh, hold on. This model is not properly set up, people. Sorry. Let's just go for something like Bell 222. Okay? Nitro, look at this. Fumes, man. Hold on. I feel bad. Even in the simulator flying this, I feel bad. Hold on. Let me just try to get a helicopter which is scaled, but it is, not nitro. Just give me a moment. I saw one was right here. This is not a helicopter. Come on. Sorry, my nose running again. Not. Where are my scale models? Oh, there you are. So let's just take this one, Jet Ranger scale head. Let's just take this one. Again, we have nitro. Sorry, just give me a moment. What kind of helicopter was that? I hope I have a scaled model helicopter with electric, because otherwise I just have no choice but to fly non-scale models. I mean scale models with nitro. Oh, there you are. I don't know, is it nitro as well? No. Nitro, but no smoke. Okay, that's very, very good. So the good thing about the, one moment, let me put it down. Let me just put down the volume. Hold on, otherwise you might not be able to hear me. Real flight volume goes down to 20%. Okay, so the good thing about the real flight is that you can choose scale helicopter, and what I just mentioned, you can practice that and fly scale. And of course, flying scale has its own charms and perks. Nice! What a nice model, man. I wish I had this in real life. It flies really nice. Look at that. Pretty realistic. What happens if we crash it? Does it break? Let's find out. Oh, why did I do that? In real life, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt big time in real life, people. Okay, oh, we have Apache. Look at that. I didn't know that. Bell, again, right there, Apache. Let's try Apache and see. Oh, this one has a turbine. Awesome. Now there's one thing before I end this, wow, what a sweet model. I wish I had that. Before I end this live show, there's one thing I want to talk about for all the beginners who are having difficulty taking off and hovering. Okay, so let's get back to, wow, this helicopter power is still. Let's get back to T-Rex 500. When do you want to take off? This is the question. And how do you make your very first takeoff for the very first time properly? That is one question. Airwolf helicopter is based on Bell 222 helicopter. I used to have a couple of, but I'm waiting for someone to release a big one on 700 size. Okay. Okay, Greg Belia, are you able to show stick movement for hovering for inverted flight? I cannot build enough muscle memory for inverted flight. Inverted flight comes very difficult, but hey, it's all about practice, and right after hours of practice, yes, you can do that. Okay, so once I just show this point for beginners, I will show you inverted flight stick control. So people who are having trouble taking off on the very first time, what you need to do is spool up your helicopter, make sure it's properly set up, blades at 0 pitch. As you can see, my radio sticks right here. Helicopter is not going to take off until I give it positive pitch. So try to get a feel of helicopter by rotating it. Okay, now your first task is keep the tail to yourself. Okay, and for me, I'm just going to keep the tail away so you can see it, and give it slightly positive pitch until your helicopter is, see, very light on the skids. It starts moving. And right here, don't take off yet. Once it's really light on its skid, try to control it and try to hold. Don't take off. Just keep it light on its skid and try to control. Get the feel of the movement of the cyclic rudder. Get the feel of that movement. Basically, you can draw a circle on the ground and try to keep the helicopter in it while, getting a feel of the helicopter orientations, stick movements, and so on. So once it's light and once you know you can control it, now gradually increase the throttle until the helicopter takes off. Don't take off very high yet. See how close I am to the ground. Just keep it here and practice hovering, holding it in place, because if anything goes wrong, you can just stop the blades, disarm the motor or land. Anything goes wrong, just land and then start again. Once you are confident at this level and you have hovered, and at this level you can easily see if your helicopter is in the circle drawn on the ground. Once you mastered it, of course, you can increase the altitude and take it from there. Okay, so this is one tip that I wanted to show you. Now, for Mr. Greg, I'm gonna put it into inverted so that you can see the stick movements. So I hope the radio is big enough to see. I'm just gonna scale it a little bit more. Let's see if it's not overlapping my icon. All right, big enough? All right, so focus on the sticks, and here we go, inverted. Taking off, hovering, inverted, and that's how my stick movements are. Once again, constant input and really very little input. So I'm rotating it and losing it, but again, I will try to maintain this hover. So this is how the sticks looks like, the stick control looks like in inverted. So if you're at the level where you're actually practicing inverted, always start with forward flip. And when you're switching, forward flip, look at that cyclic movement. You might want to practice this in flight simulator first. So it's either a forward flip or back flip. But I suggest in the beginning, if this is going to be your very first inverted flight in real life, don't do backflip, because what happens, a number of people might just bring the helicopter right on their face, get panicked, and it can be lethal, trust me. So always keep the helicopter at an altitude where you can see it farther from you, and do front flip. And see how I transition my left stick, as you can see, I transition in a way that helicopter doesn't go too far. Basically, most of the transitions are happening very close to, cyclic being in the center. If you go too far, you see the helicopter flies too far, eventually goes too far, and you lose sight of the helicopter, and of course, crash. So once again, forward flip, keeping the helicopter, cyclic on the left stick, very close to the center. You can flip and keep it right there, and after that, control. Now trust me, orientation here is different than orientation here. It is very, very different. So this is how you gradually progress, people, and learn to fly helicopter. Once again, I would say flight simulators really make difference. So do get yourself a flight simulator. Practice with the flight simulator as much as you can, and then bring your helicopter out. Feel free to crash your RC helicopters the way you want, all the crazy ways. Feel free to do whatever you like and progress fast with flight simulator. So this is how I learned to fly really quick, and this is how you can also learn to fly very quick. So I'm just gonna keep it right here and get back to the live stream. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I hope that you learned some tips and tricks. Don't forget to comment. This will be on my channel as a video. You can re-watch it as many times as you want. And don't forget to comment on this video if you have any questions that you couldn't ask here, you came late, you couldn't watch this. Feel free to write that in the comment. Let me see, but there's a 2100 JTech says, but do the air that hits the ground affect your input? Of course. Yes, this is a very, very good question. I do not fly nitro helicopters anymore. It's a very good question. When helicopter is flying very close to the ground, I don't know if you can see, not here, I can show you in real flight once again. When a helicopter is flying very close to the ground, in real life, you will have ground effect. Sorry. In real life, you will have ground effect because the wind coming down from the main rotors does causes some gust around the helicopter, and you will have ground effect, especially if you are doing inverted. But normally the helicopters, these collective pitch helicopters, they will not be affected too much. However, ground effect, you will feel a lot when you do this in inverted. I can scrap the blades. Sorry. Well, we are in flight simulator. So in real life, you can actually scrap the blade without crashing the helicopter. And you do feel ground effect once you get very, very close. Ooh, I did. Oh, did you hear that? So yes, when you're this close to ground inverted, you will feel the ground effect. But as I said, if you are practicing this way, standard way, and if you're close to the ground, collective pitch helicopters will not feel much of the ground effect. All right, so we are coming back to the live feed right here. Next question. Let me see if there's any other question before we end this. Very good, Greg. Sim crash looks like yes, in the sim some of the crashes do feel very, very real, and in real life I've crashed a lot of helicopters in very, very funny ways. I hope you'll watch those videos, so do check on my channel. There are a lot of crash videos for you to enjoy. Okay, so yes, feel free to watch this video once again, and if you have any questions left, something that I haven't answered, feel free to write a comment on this video and leave your question. I would be more than happy to answer the questions regarding the practice, regarding RC helicopters, or regarding RC. Obviously, I would love to answer all the questions. And do notice there are some links in the video description. Should you like my work, feel free, check this out. There's a link in the video description for the channel support. Feel free to buy me a coffee. I love coffee as well. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you next time on next live shows. Let me know if you want to see more of such live shows. The next live show I want to do is about RC airplanes, and of course I'll give you tips and tricks on how to fly RC airplanes using the flight simulator, and then step by step what we have learned right here on flight simulator, we will take it out on real things and see how practice actually does make difference. Thank you very much, people. Have fun and good night from China. I'm off and probably time to, relax. Have fun, people. Take care and see you later next time. So where do I end the stream? On this one or on that one? Well, that one looks good. Take care. Bye-bye. Have fun. Stay safe, people.
I've done the lecture?
Yeah. Live show.